Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all well. I get it to 12 o'clock, so I will get started. So for today's webinar, we're going to be looking at the importance of employees taking annual leave and the benefits this can bring both to employees and employers. In the current pandemic, a number of employees have been reluctant to book time off, mainly because they haven't been able to go away in, say, the traditional way. However, there are many benefits to employees taking a break, and I think particularly now more than ever, as home working and work life can become a bit of a blur. So for those of you that are new to our webinars, this is the Clover HR team. There are about 20 HR business partners within the team at the moment. So we are your trusted people advisors, but we do also have specialists within our team in recruitment, learning and development, coaching, health and safety, and also CV writing. So my name is Leanne Porter, and I am a HR business partner for Clover HR. Hopefully I have muted all microphones for this session and just ask that you do keep them muted throughout the session to help keep the background noise to a minimum, both for those that are listening and also for our recording. At the end of today's webinar, I will provide you with my contact details. So if you do have any questions or queries, please feel free to send these across at the end. So looking at what we will be covering today. So firstly, we'll take a look at the importance of annual leave. Then I'll share some statistics with you relating to annual leave. I'll cover off some reasons as to why employees are not taking their annual leave. We'll also look into some of the benefits. We'll also look at ways to encourage employees to take annual leave and carrying annual leave over. And then finally, we'll also look at the effects COVID-19 and furlough has had on annual leave. So I guess first things first, I think it's important to remember taking a break from the day-to-day working environment does both the business and employees the world of good. And like I said before, I think this is important now more than ever. Remember, annual leave is not just an employee benefit, it is a health and safety requirement. We may not all realise it, but we're constantly under stress in one way or another. And some of that stress is very obvious, such as, say, challenging deadlines, but some we're barely aware of, such as, say, constant checking of emails once you've left the office for the day, working overtime, which can feel normal, and how we navigate the difference between working in the office and working from home, which can all essentially wear us down. A recent study has found that almost 3/4, so 74% of Brits experience stress on a day-to-day basis. So I think there is a need for work-life balance and for this to be addressed. Although social distancing and the impact COVID-19 is having on our lives is expected to continue for a few more months at least, I wanted to use today's session to stress the importance of making sure people are still using their annual leave, even though most people are unable to leave their homes at the moment or restricted on, I guess, movements. Spending time away from work is still really important. Taking a break from work is our bodies and minds' chance to recover from the demands of our jobs. We're all juggling a lot at the moment, so it's important more than ever to make sure we are taking time out for ourselves. And the purpose of taking annual leave isn't limited to going on a foreign holiday. It's about taking time away from work to spend time doing the things we all enjoy. And I think it's an important message to get across, again, both as employers and to employees. So some statistics for you. So in the UK, around 40% of employees take just half of their annual leave or less. On average, UK employees take just 62% of their annual leave entitlement, according to research by Glassdoor, demonstrating even those who are booking holiday are not usually utilising their full allowance. With the statutory annual leave days being 28 in the UK, which includes bank holidays, I can work out that the average UK employee misses out on around 6.5 days annual leave each year. I think it's also worth bearing in mind that the UK's 28-day minimum is amongst the lowest in Europe, where the average is actually 33 days. Yet many of us are still failing to use all of our entitlement. Of those who did manage to take a holiday, 23% regularly check emails and 15% continue to work through fear of getting behind or the consequences of not hitting their targets. And 75% of people said they wished they could take more time off work to go on holiday. So clearly many UK employees are not using all their annual leave. And I just wanted to share with you some, I guess, possible motives as to why employees are not using what they're entitled holidays. So I'm finding, particularly now during the current situation we're in with lockdown and the impact COVID-19, people are more resistant than ever to take a break. And this is partly because many holidays abroad have been cancelled, but also because everyone has been taken out of their comfort zone. People feel like things are a bit out of their control at the moment, and work in this type of situation can feel like a comfort blanket to some. For some people, throwing themselves into work and using it as a distraction can help make them feel more comfortable in times of change. So an employee might have a heavy workload or just generally be too busy. This was actually a top reason from a survey conducted by VoucherBox. Employees could have, say, an inbox that is growing by the second, or lots of unfinished jobs that they require attention. And they may feel they simply cannot risk taking time off, as everything is just going to build up in their absence and then ultimately create even more work for them. Might be to do with staffing shortages. So employees may not take annual leave due to the lack of cover or staffing shortages. This generally is an issue within small and medium-sized businesses. They feel guilty giving the extra work to colleagues or worried that work won't be covered whilst they're away, and ultimately they'll just come back to a pile of work, therefore the time off isn't worth it. It might be that an employee is too shy to ask for time off. This may seem a bit silly to some, but not everybody is confident to ask for time off. The reluctance may be intensified during busy periods or where there is a lot of people already off on holiday. It might be that not given enough notice. So depending on your business or the amount of staff you have, there may be times where you need everybody in the office. People may have been waiting for the right time to ask for their holiday, and now it might be that they've missed their chance as they didn't adhere to the notice periods required. Or it might be you're not able to sign off the holiday. So relying on holiday rollover. So some companies have a system whereby a set amount of unused days can be rolled over into the next holiday year. This means employees tactically take less holiday than they're entitled to, so they have more in the following year. Remember, employees can only roll over holiday where the amount is above the statutory minimum. All employees should be taking a statutory minimum in a 12-month period, regardless of the amount of annual leave they have to take. So if you're allowing allowing employees to roll over, it's good practice to set timeframes on when those holidays should be used by. And I would usually say this should be around 3 months. So you may be thinking that if employees aren't using their annual leaves, then it's great for you and the business, as they're going to be in the office working instead of spending time focusing on personal lives. And in turn, this may mean you don't need to worry about finding cover, handing over work, or worrying about deadlines and not being fulfilled, which all in turn would boost the productivity and output of the team. However, this isn't the case. A break from work does allow employees to switch off, de-stress, regain focus and energise. It is essential if you want to create a sustainable culture of engagement, productivity and happiness. Equally, you need to think about what impact this would be having on the company's culture and the messages it would be sending out about the company to others. Annual leave allows employees to take paid time off from work for the purposes of having regular breaks so that they can rest and re-energise. It helps with reducing stress. We all know this is already a stressful time for our employees, and the uncertainty around the current situation is causing a lot of people to feel more anxious. Even without COVID-19, time away from work is directly correlated with reducing stress, and regular breaks from work have been shown to reduce ill health and overall absenteeism. Employees who take regular holiday can be more motivated about their work and perform more effectively than those who do not. Having a good work-life balance will help to avoid work-related stress and burnouts. Spending time away from work with the people we love is very important for good mental health. And a survey from Britain's Healthiest Workplace revealed that high stress and lack of physical activity were causing businesses to lose up to 27 days of productive time per employee each year. Furthermore, another recent study found that 79% of employees return from a period of annual leave feeling significantly less stressed. Getting up from your desk and being less sedentary for a couple of weeks can help employees to be more creative and productive on their return. And also it improves mood. So studies have suggested that those who take holidays from work at least twice a year are less likely to be depressed, tense or tired. We all do need to take a break to relax and unwind, and that's more important now than ever. In the long run, the benefits of taking a break now will improve employees' mood over the coming months. So I guess the question is, what can companies do? And there are a number of ways employers can encourage employees to make full use of their holiday entitlement. So firstly, make sure you have a clear and accessible holiday policy, which makes booking time off simple. Ensure all employees know how much holiday they are entitled to and have access to a system where they can request days off and ideally see how much holiday they have to take or left to book. And this can help them manage their own time accordingly. And a good absence management software can make it easy for employees to book and view their holiday, but also allows the employer to track and report on who's taken annual leave, so you can take appropriate action as and when required and discuss with an individual. Sending out regular reminders as part of, say, company newsletters, individual emails confirming an employee's entitlement, or even mentioning annual leave during regular meetings can help motivate employees to book time off throughout the year and just create a culture where discussion around holiday is open and positive. Encouraging employees to share recommendations for time off. So say from long haul city trips to city breaks, family days out, or even maybe local cultural events, can all help to develop a healthier workplace attitude towards annual leave and taking time off. Communicating the importance of annual leave to managers, again at all levels, to help avoid staff feeling their requests might be frowned upon or unwelcome. The way in which a manager responds to holiday requests and their awareness of an employee's workload, and any barriers they put in place in terms of timing and their own willingness to take annual leave can actually have a strong impact on how comfortable their own team feel in utilising their allowance. It is essential that employees know that you want them to use all their annual leave and that you stress the associated benefits to them and the rest of the business. Equally, managers discussing work-life balance with their employees, ensuring they do hand over tasks before taking holiday, and just making it clear to them that they're not expected to be checking work emails whilst they're away, so they can fully step back from the work and the stresses that the workplace can bring. When employees do take time off, it's typical that laptops, smartphones and tablets do join them on holiday. This means that employees will be checking emails at all hours. They can still be taking business calls whilst they're by the pool and working on laptops when really they should be working on relaxing and re-energising. This is a big problem, as they won't fully switch off from work if they're not taking those things with them. Only by focusing on their holiday will they return to work energised, refreshed and focused. Equally, it's important for managers to lead by example. So if you're encouraging your employees to take time off, but say you haven't had a day off since Christmas yourself, then I guess how can you be taken seriously when talking to employees about their annual leave? And it's important for employers to reframe the way they look at annual leave and acknowledge it's not an employee perk, but a benefit to the business itself. By ensuring that employees do take their full entitlement, can create a more productive workplace, minimise absenteeism due to stress-related ill health, help to retain staff, which will make the business more profitable and the business more appealing to potential future employees. So a question I often get asked, particularly I guess over the past year, where people have been limited to where they can go, and also because of the furlough scheme, is can you force employees to take annual leave? And in short, the answer is yes. The working time regulations allow employers to compel employees to take holiday unless you have policies or within the employment contract specifies otherwise. However, just like employees are expected to give notice, an employer also has to provide notice, which is generally 2 days notice for every day you want an employee to take, or if it's stated differently within the contract of employment. So for example, if you're asking an employee to take 4 days holiday, then you would need to give them at least 8 days notice. Provided that the annual leave request is reasonable, the employee cannot normally turn it down as an employee instruction. Requiring employees to take leave is obviously less desirable option than encouraging employees to take leave. So I would also exercise with caution. And equally, employees are not likely to take kindly to being forced to take time off. So you should be careful about the messaging and assure them of the benefits to taking holiday and their own well-being in the process. So now moving on to look at carrying over annual leave. This will depend on how much annual leave entitlement an employee has. Under the working time regulations, all employees are entitled and as a minimum should have at least 20 or 28 days if you include the bank holidays each year. Therefore, if you offer the statutory holiday package, employees are not allowed to carry any holiday over, as you would be in breach of the working time regulations. But if you offer an enhanced holiday package or you have contractual holiday, then you can allow employees to carry over holiday. But again, employees would still need to take the statutory minimum off each year. So just as an example, if you offer 23 days annual leave, then you could allow employees to carry over 3 days. If you are allowing employees to carry over holiday, then I would recommend setting a policy and some parameters. So for example, employees can carry up to 3 days, but these must be taken within 3 months of the new holiday calendar year. So now moving on to have a look at the effects COVID-19 has had on unused and carried over holidays. So you may have a number of employees with lots of unused holiday from 2020 due to COVID and furlough. You need to be mindful of the rules around this. The announcement last March actually gave a relaxation to holiday carried over and allows employees to carry unused holiday for the next 2 years. So as an employer, it's important to be setting parameters in place of how many days employees can carry over into 2021 and 2022, making sure you do communicate this to everyone to ensure that there's no confusion and people have got sufficient time to get their holiday in. Be aware that you may have an influx of holiday requests, particularly as we're now easing out of lockdown slowly. Have a robust policy in place for using holidays and by when, making sure you stress the importance of having a holiday. Holidays are supposed to be fun for the employee as well as a well-deserved break, and therefore the last thing you want to do is turn it into a negative experience. And just be fair and consistent in the approach you take. You may have working mums or dads needing school holidays off now that the children are back at school. Therefore, get them to discuss their needs with you as soon as possible to make sure you can make it work for everyone. So another question I've been asked over, I guess, really the past 12 months is about whether employees can take annual leave whilst on furlough. And obviously the furlough scheme has currently been extended until the end of September. And again, in short, the answer is yes. I would recommend encouraging employees to take annual leave, and employees have been happy to take annual leave so then they don't end up coming back to work with lots of holiday to use up when they are back. The main thing to be mindful of is if employees are receiving the 80% of pay as per the government furlough rules. If the employee does decide to take annual leave, then this would need to be paid at 100% of their normal salary. Also remember, both the employer and the employee should be given at least twice the amount of notice for annual leave as per the number of days requesting. So just an example, if an employee is looking to take 5 days off, then they would still need to give you 10 days notice and vice versa. So just moving on to look at HR software, it is best practice to have a system in place where employees can view and manage their annual leave. Clover HR are accredited partner of Breathe HR, which are a cloud HR system specifically for small and medium-sized businesses. And one of its main capabilities is the ability to manage holidays. And I guess some of the positives to this type of system are it gives the team visibility of their availability. on holiday and total allowance. It allows them to book holiday requests from anywhere and from any device. You can respond to requests in just a few clicks, and again from any device. And also it means there's no paper, no spreadsheets, and no delays for employees. So to summarise them on today's session, so employers do have a duty of care to ensure employees are having sufficient periods of rest. A break from work allows employees to switch off, de-stress, regain focus and re-energise. And this is essential if you want to create a sustainable culture of engagement, productivity and happiness. Equally, you need to think about what impact this would be having on the company's culture and the messages it sends out about the company. Encourage employees to take annual leave where possible, have a holiday policy in place, use an absence software tool such as Breathe, which makes it easy for both parties to manage the holiday, and remember to practice what you preach. So if you don't take annual leave, then it's unlikely employees will follow suit. You can request that employees take annual leave and have set periods for company holidays. So for example, the period between Christmas and New Year. You just need to remember to give twice as much notice as the amount of time you're requesting the employee to take off. You can allow employees to carry over annual leave if you offer above the statutory minimum. So if you have contractual annual leave, I would recommend setting parameters for when these days will be used up by. It's also important to be mindful of the changes to carrying over annual leave as a result of the current pandemic and employees who have been affected by the furlough scheme. So the ability to carry holidays into 2021 and 2022. And employees on furlough can take annual leave. Just remember that they should receive 100% of their pay whilst on holiday. So I've now got a couple of questions which I'll run through, which we had in prior to today's session. So the first one is how best to deal with multiple holiday requests. And this is one which has come up quite a lot recently, again, because of people not using up their holiday entitlement whilst we've been in lockdown and also furlough. So firstly, I would say it's important to set the expectation early. So communicate to employees what needs to be done and when. Ensure that you have contracts and policies in place which state the process. I would ensure that managers are aware of the process and follow the process to ensure that they're being fair and consistent to everybody. You could also consider some alternative solutions if you have got multiple people asking for the same time off. So could they do 1 week instead of 2? Or swap people around. Alternatively, you could also look at if the employee could work from home for a period, if obviously the holidays to do with childcare, or looking at reducing hours for a set period. So are employees on long-term sick and maternity entitled to annual leave? Yes, employees do continue to build up their annual leave entitlement whilst on long-term sick or maternity leave, just as they would if they were at work. However, they cannot take annual leave whilst on sick or maternity leave. As such, employees must be allowed to take statutory holiday either if they're on maternity, either before they break up or if they're on sick when they return. And I think this is the final question we've had in. So what do we need to pay employees whilst they're on holiday? So for workers with fixed hours, holiday pay amounts to their weekly normal pay or their day rate, depending on whether they're having a week or a day off. If an employee works variable hours from week to week, holiday pay should be calculated on the average pay of the employee earned over the past 52 weeks. So something to be mindful of there, depending on how your employees' hours are made up. And that's it for today's session. So thank you for attending and your attention. I hope you have found it useful. As I said at the beginning, I would share my contact details with you. So they're up on the screen now. If you did have any additional questions or you need any additional support that you want to run past me, then please feel free to get in touch. Clover HR can support throughout the holiday process. So whether that's managing requests, communicating the importance, writing policy, supporting with implementing a software program like Breathe HR. So please do get in touch if you would like any further support, and thank you again.